Marlene Tapia, New Mexico, claims that a correctional officer sprayed pepper spray or mace on her genitals after she was accused of hiding drugs inside her body. Now, she claims that she did in fact do it, and it was very obvious to the correctional officer. She was suspected of a parole violation. The officer did a strip search and could see the baggie basically, coming out of her. And it's kind of difficult to explain it in an eloquent way, but it is what it is. Anyway, she claims that instead of, taking the bag out and arresting her and doing what she needed to do, Blanca Zapater sprayed mace on her, and that she suffered for a very long time as a result. She said that she suffered from burning, swollen genitals, painful urination, and pain and burning on her face. So she is planning on suing, and we'll see how this case plays out. But I do want to note that in New Mexico, they're dealing with a lot of very questionable drug war issues. Okay, for some reason, the cops there have been particularly harsh and aggressive with people that are suspected of using drugs. Another story that broke very recently involved a man by the name of David Eckert, and he was pulled over because of a rolling stop that he did at a Walmart. Well, cops believe that he was hiding drugs. They got a drug sniffing dog, and they said that the dog was acting suspicious. So as a result, they forced him to go to a hospital where a doctor refused to do an anal exam. They took him to another hospital where a doctor did agree to do one, and they did 2 abdominal x-rays, a colonoscopy, 3 enemas, okay, an anal exam with fingers twice.
They had to track someone down with longer fingers because they weren't sure about the results of the first one.
He had no drugs on him. They should have known that after the first anal exam.
Yeah, the second enema.
So I bring up these 2 stories, and they're 2 separate stories, because it just kind of shows you how much this war on drugs allows cops and allows authority figures to violate our privacy and do things that, in my opinion, are inhumane. In this case, with David Eckert, well, of course, in both cases, spraying mace on someone's genitals is absolutely ludicrous. And if that did happen, that correctional officer should not only get fired, but she should seriously face assault charges. In the case of David Eckert, I mean, really, you're going to do 3 different enemas, 2 abdominal x-rays, a colonoscopy? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know which alternative is worse. Of the 2 alternatives, that one, things are just getting way worse and cops are becoming much more violent, much more sure of their own power. That, or that things have always been this bad, but now we have the internet and we have national media that will take what would have been a story for that particular town in New Mexico, and now we see it across the country. I don't know which of those is worse, but we should be worried about the police. Like, they have no limits on what they think they should be allowed to do in this country.
So right now, Eckert is going to file a federal lawsuit against this police department, and hopefully it plays out the way that we want it to. There should be consequences here, because that's absolutely crazy to violate someone's rights like that, to have. How violated would you feel? Yeah. If there are no drugs on you and they force you, and by the way, this was all against his will. He gave no consent, and they performed all of these procedures on him anyway, right? But I think the real problem is oftentimes these cases go with absolutely no consequences. No one ever faces consequences for it. So cops feel empowered to continue doing it, and it's a form of harassment. Yeah. He's had trouble with the law in the past. So these cops probably didn't like him and they wanted to give him a hard time. But that does not warrant the type of behavior that you see from this department. The particular cop in question is Bobby Orozco. And I can't imagine being put in that situation where I'm being probed like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that you talked about consequences. I hope one of the consequences is the more stories you see about the abuses that seem to be a necessary outcome of the drug war, is that people start to realize this is ridiculous. It's marijuana. Who cares? Stop abusing people. I hope that that's the consequence. When it comes specifically to the woman who maced the genitals of another woman who did admittedly have drugs, I don't understand. Like, I try to put myself in the position of the cop every time. Like, a dog is jumping at you, you shoot it. I think that's horrible. You can sort of understand why. When you're macing a woman's vagina, like, are you trying to pacify the drugs or the vagina? Like, were
It's
you worried about
not.
vagina dentata? Like, what was it that you were scared of?
It's punitive. It's punitive. That's all it is. It's
I can't
punishing.
wait for her to make that case in a court.
Well,
What is she going to say?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you know, this woman has evidence of what the cop did or what the correctional officer did. I hope that she does, if that was the case. But there's no other reason for it. If, as the woman claims, the bag was already visible and all the cop had to do was take it out, then just take it out and move on with your life. It's a parole violation. And by the way, let's say worst case scenario, she has drugs on her. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't care. I don't care if you want to do drugs. I don't want to waste my taxpayer money, my resources on prosecuting you and putting you behind bars. I want my money to go toward rehabilitation. I want my money to go toward prosecuting people that are committed of doing violent crimes. But when it comes to drug use, what a waste of resources, and we destroy people's lives instead of trying to rehabilitate them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, she has drugs in the bag. I care about that as much as if she had packets of Splenda in her vagina.
Exactly.
Or a couple of Tamagotchis. It does not impact my life.
Not at all.